History is full of kings, queens, and empires, but there are some stories so unique, so mysterious, and so deeply powerful that they transcend time. The story of the Ashanti Kingdom and the Golden Stool is one of them. This is not just the story of a throne, not just the story of a crown or a royal seat. This is the story of a people who believed that their very soul, their collective spirit, their destiny, was bound to one sacred object, a stool made of pure gold, sent down from the heavens by the gods themselves. To understand the Ashanti Kingdom, you must understand the Golden Stool. For without it, the Ashanti people believed their kingdom could not exist. Let us begin at the dawn of the Ashanti Kingdom, in the dense forests of what is today Ghana. In the late 1600s and early 1700s, small Akan states existed as independent chiefdoms. They were proud, resilient, but divided. The Denkira were the most powerful of the Akan people at the time, ruling over others and demanding tribute. But the winds of history were shifting. A new power was rising, one destined to unite the people and challenge the old order. That power was the Ashanti, led by a man who would become legendary, Osei Tutu. Osei Tutu was not an ordinary chief. He was ambitious, intelligent, and above all, destined for greatness. Alongside his spiritual advisor, Okomfo Anokye, a priest and mystic of immense power, Osei Tutu envisioned a kingdom greater than any seen before in the forest region. The story of the Golden Stool begins with them, for it was Okomfo Anokye who called upon the heavens, who summoned divine forces to legitimize the new Ashanti Kingdom. According to legend, in a moment of extraordinary ceremony, Okomfo Anokye commanded the sky to open, and from the heavens descended the Golden Stool. This stool was no ordinary seat. It did not touch the ground. It floated gently onto the lap of Osei Tutu, and with that act, it became clear to all that Osei Tutu was the chosen king, the Asante Hare, and that the stool represented the soul of the Ashanti people. It was not just the soul of the king, but of every Ashanti, past, present, and future. The Golden Stool was so sacred that no one was ever allowed to sit on it, not even the king. It was placed carefully, guarded constantly, and revered above all things. The Golden Stool became the foundation of Ashanti identity, uniting clans that once fought each other, binding them under one spiritual and political order. But the Golden Stool was not just a symbol, it was power itself. Under Osei Tutu's leadership, the Ashanti waged wars of unification. They rose against the Denkira, once their overlords, and defeated them in battle. It was a turning point in West African history. The Ashanti transformed from a collection of clans into a centralized, highly organized, and militarily formidable kingdom. Their capital, Kumasi, blossomed into a city of wealth and splendor. Gold flowed through their lands, traded across West Africa and beyond. The Ashanti were becoming one of the greatest empires Africa had ever seen. And at the heart of it all was the Golden Stool. Generations passed, and the Ashanti Kingdom grew in power. Their political system was unique, balancing the authority of the Asante Hare with the voices of chiefs and elders. The Golden Stool ensured unity. To attack it was to attack the very soul of the nation. And so, even when disputes arose, even when succession crises emerged, the Golden Stool was the constant reminder that the Ashanti were bound together. But every great empire faces its trials. For the Ashanti, the greatest test came in the form of European colonial powers. By the 19th century, the British had set their eyes on Ashanti lands. They sought to control trade, especially gold, and to expand their colonial rule inland from the coast. The Ashanti, proud and independent, resisted fiercely. There were a series of wars between the Ashanti and the British, the Anglo-Ashanti Wars, spanning decades. The most dramatic moment came in 1900, in what is known as the War of the Golden Stool. The British governor, Sir Frederick Hodgson, in a display of arrogance and ignorance, demanded that the Golden Stool be brought before him so that he might sit upon it. To the Ashanti, this was not merely an insult, it was a desecration, a spiritual attack on their very existence. The Ashanti could tolerate defeat in battle. They could negotiate peace treaties. But the Golden Stool was untouchable. No foreigner could defile it. At this moment of crisis, a leader emerged. Not a king, not a warrior chief, but a queen mother, Ya Asantewa. She rose before the chiefs and declared, "If you, the men of Ashanti, will not go forward, then we will. We, the women, will. I shall call upon my fellow women. We will fight the white man. We will fight till the last of us falls in the battlefield." Her words ignited the spirit of resistance. The Ashanti launched a rebellion against the British, determined to defend the sacred stool. The war was brutal. The Ashanti laid siege to the British fort in Kumasi. Though the rebellion was eventually suppressed, the golden stool itself was never captured. The Ashanti had hidden it deep in the forest, protecting it at all costs. The British never sat upon it, never even touched it. The soul of the Ashanti remained intact. To this day, the golden stool remains the ultimate symbol of the Ashanti people. It is never displayed casually, never treated as an object of curiosity. It is brought out only on the most solemn occasions. It is so sacred that when it was accidentally discovered by construction workers in 1921, the men who had touched it were executed. That is the level of reverence it commands. The golden stool is not just a relic. It is alive in the hearts of the Ashanti. It represents their unity, their sovereignty, their identity. But what makes the golden stool truly extraordinary is what it tells us about African civilizations. Too often, African history is told through the lens of European conquest. Too often, the narrative focuses on slavery, on colonial domination, on supposed backwardness. The story of the Ashanti and the golden stool shatters those myths. Here was a people with a sophisticated political system, with a spiritual philosophy that linked leadership to the collective soul, with the courage to resist foreign domination. The golden stool is not just the story of one kingdom, it is the story of African resilience, pride, and identity. Even today, in modern Ghana, the Asantehene still holds court in Kumasi. The golden stool still symbolizes the soul of the Ashanti people. And though the kingdom no longer wages wars or rules vast territories, its cultural and spiritual legacy endures. The golden stool remains a living reminder that true power is not just in armies or wealth, but in the shared spirit of a people. The story of the Ashanti kingdom and the golden stool teaches us that some treasures cannot be bought, cannot be stolen, cannot be destroyed. They live on, generation after generation, because they are rooted in the soul of a people. The golden stool is one of those treasures. So the next time you hear history told only through the lens of crowns, thrones, and palaces in Europe, remember that in the heart of Africa, there was a kingdom whose greatest symbol was not a throne to sit on, but a stool that no one could touch, a stool that held the very spirit of a nation. The Ashanti kingdom may have faced wars, colonization, and challenges, but as long as the golden stool endures, the soul of the Ashanti endures.